Hello, and welcome to the Hypno Travelers on the Magical Psyche Highway podcast. That's right. Your host and tour guide is Scott Prevett, a healer, hypnotist, and a magician. And your bus driver is Jason Gobelli, also a hypnotist, an entrepreneur, and a spiritual guide. Disclaimer, neither Jason, Scott, or any of our guests here today are licensed professional psychologists or psychiatrists. So please don't make any changes to any medication or treatments that you are currently on based on the conversation that you hear here today. Just hop on the bus and enjoy the ride. Trip with us on the Inner Revelation bus. That's right.
Hi, I'm Jason. Welcome back to the Hypno Travelers on the Magical Psyche Highway. We are excited today because we are going all the way to Israel. It's going to be neat, isn't it, Scott?
Heck yeah, we've got a great guest for you guys today.
That's right. We got Ari Serap. Ari, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Hey everyone, it's good to be here.
Nice.
Welcome, welcome.
Nice. So let's get started right away, Ari. Who are you and what do you do?
So I'm an energy healer, specifically trained through the Aura Muna program. Basically, it's energy healing from a Torah perspective.
Nice. Well, what is this all about? Go into a little bit of depth about this. Let our viewers know what's this about.
So basically, how energy healing from a Torah perspective is a little bit different. So there's a few things that makes it different. We believe that the entire world was created by a Kodesh Baruch Hu, by God, right? That every single person, every thing that is in existence has energy, and that energy comes from God. That's what we believe, right? So if everything in the world was created with energy, that means we can tap into it. So through energy work, we can heal traumas, we can unblock fears, unblock trapped emotions. So this is the work that I practice. And there's a few things that differ Jewish energy work from, I'm just gonna set my phone up, from let's say regular energy work. It's because there's a few things that we just wouldn't do because it goes against the values of the Torah. And that is, we never speak to the dead. We don't talk to, angels or demons. We don't tell the future. We work solely on helping a person remove traumas and blockages in their life. So that's what I do.
Nice. So
I do that all the way from, I live in a city called Tzfat. Tzfat is the birthplace of Kabbalah. There's 4 holy cities in Israel. You have Jerusalem, which is connected to the element of fire. You have Tiberias, which is connected to the element of water. You have Hebron, which is connected to the element of earth. And the city that I live in, Tzfat, is connected to air. It's the birthplace of, like I said, birthplace of Kabbalah.
So is this done through laying of the hands?
Yes. So I use my hands. I was trained through clearing blockages through blinking. So I use my eyes and my hands.
Nice. So your hands are channels. Do you have one particular hand that emits and one that pulls out?
So no, I use both of them, but I am predominantly, I'm right-handed. So I use my right hand more than I would use my left. But when I am working on a client, I use both of my hands.
So, and I noticed that you said that it's heavily, heavily tied to the Kabbalah. So what's that about? Explain that to our viewers so they get a better.
So Kabbalah is based off the tree of life. There are sphirot, right? Every human being is composed of the 10 sphirot. So how that is connected to Jewish energy healing, we actually use Kabbalistic teachings in the work that we do. So for instance, there could be times where I'm working on a client and I'm connecting to a certain sphere within their energy body. So for instance, sometimes you have someone who is more connected to kindness. They love to give, right? That attribute is actually connected to the sphere of chesed. Chesed is connected to Avram Avinu, Abraham, right? He was chesed. He was the embodiment of kindness. You know, in the Bible, you read that his tent was always open. You know, so that was Avraham Avinu. That was Abraham. Yitzhak represents another aspect of the sphere, which is Gevurah, which is discipline. All right. So sometimes you have a person who is more likely to be kind, who wants to give, and then you have someone who like Avram Avinu, and then on the left side you have someone who might be predominantly more of a Yitzhak type of persona, someone who has a lot of discipline, and you need both. So sometimes when we're doing energy work, one of those may be blocked, and then I go in and I work on it.
Nice. So let me ask you, Ari, when did you have that moment, that aha moment that, you know what, I can connect with God and I can help heal people this way? When did that come about? And what was that all like?
So I have a crazy story and crazy journey. I'm originally from Las Vegas, believe it or not, and I was a nightclub promoter. In the in the darkest places, there I was, and I was offered a free flight to Israel, believe it or not, and I took it. It was offered to me, and 2 weeks later, I quit my job, and I was in Israel, and I went to yeshiva, which is basically a school where Jews can go to become closer to their heritage and to themselves. And I became what we in Hebrew is called Baalei Tshuva, which means master of return. Basically, I became religious. I was raised reformed, so like we didn't keep Shabbat, we didn't keep kosher, believed in God, but it was not a real relationship. It didn't feel like, it's like, I'll be cool with you, God, when on my terms. Now I try to live my life the best of my ability to not just on my terms, if that makes sense. So I've been in Israel for almost 9 years, and I became more observant, religious within Israel. And I would have to say, though, to do energy work, it was through my wife, 100%. My wife was like, Ari, you got to do energy work. I was like, what is that? And at first I was skeptical. I was like, this sounds like nonsense. This sounds like a bunch of heebie-jeebies, I don't. And then so many miraculous stories, like our daughter had a serious ear infection, and my wife found someone who studied emotion code, and she did energy work, distant energy work on my daughter, and it cleared up. I was like, okay, there's something here. There's something going on here. I started to go further into it, and I found my teacher, Rebbe Sinorit Esther Reiter, who's very respected in the community here in Israel, and she has a program, and I ran into it, and it changed my life, the way that I look at things. And it's a program that's connected to the values that I believe in. So it wasn't just energy work, but it was the idea that when God created the world, when Hashem created the world, he created it with energy. So when I'm working with people, I'm tapping into that, and it's a game changer for me on how I view my life, how I view the world that I live in.
Nice. So you've done some serious work helping others then, haven't you?
Yeah, but, thank God. It's, I like to tell people I'm just a messenger. I really do believe all the work, all the healing comes from our Creator. I really do believe there's no such thing as a healer, right? I think God is the only one who does healing. I'm not trying to come off as a religious fanatic, God forbid, but that's what I really believe in. I believe that we're just messengers, we're just facilitators. That's what I try to do.
So what have you done that opened up you to become that channel for healing?
Say that one more time.
What made you a channel for healing? What have you done to open up where you become a channel that God can go through you to heal?
I think it has to begin with intuition. You have to believe in yourself. I think so many of us, we don't recognize that we're amazing. You're every single person was created in the image of a Kodesh Baruch Hu, was created in the image of God. You have an aspect of the divine light within you, and the moment that I really realized that and I tapped into that is when I started to see unbelievable things in my life.
Wonderful. So, besides God, who are your mentors? Where do you get some of this stuff from? Where is it coming from?
So when it comes to energy work, my mentor and teacher is Rebbetzin Orit Esther Ryder. She has a program that I study under called Oramuna. So when it comes to energy work, she is definitely a huge mentor of mine. And when it comes to rabbis in my life, my rabbi, I have a rabbi in Las Vegas actually, who I'm very close to. He's the rabbi of my family. He's amazing. And then I have, a rabbi that I stayed in touch with all these years from when I was in yeshiva. It's really important to have good people in your life, people who you relate to and people that, bring the best out of you.
So I imagine you believe that God brought these people into your life,
Absolutely.
including
Absolutely. There's a saying in Hebrew, Jason. It's called hashgacha pratit, which means it's divine presence, divine providence, right? Like nothing is just happenstance, So it's when it's all hashgacha pratit. It was all meant to happen. It's all like, you ever heard the line, we plan, God laughs, like that's what it is.
Nice. Well, it's interesting because on our show, we've interviewed so many people from so many different modalities and a lot of energy healers. So it's different to have one coming from your perspective as well. So what makes yours so unique?
I would say that the combination of Torah connected to energy work.
Nice.
You
And
know,
go ahead.
uh, you know, I really do believe in the healing through the teachings of Torah, right? Changed my life, completely. And energy work, and that alone is complete is healing. Connecting yourself to Hashem, to God is, and if you're Jewish, it's following, to the best of your abilities, the positive and negative mitzvot. And if you're not Jewish, it's following the seven B'nai Noah mitzvahs, right? To the best of your ability, right? What am I saying essentially? It's when a person realizes that it's not all about me, that there is a higher power, and you try to connect to that, there is no way that you can't be a better you.
And then I've also heard there's so much, I guess I could say, mysticism almost behind the Kabbalah. So how deeply is that rooted in your healing energy and stuff like that with the work with the Kabbalah?
It is, it's deeply rooted, because my mentor, she is also very much into Kabbalah. Our program, or it's not my program, the program that I took has what is called a haskama. Basically, you have to understand, for a long time, energy work was kind of like taboo within the Torah world, right? A lot of religious Jews were like, we don't know if this is kosher, right? Because it kind of lost its popularity, but it is completely and 100% kosher under the guidelines that I shared with you guys in the beginning of the interview. And so basically, a big Rav in Bnei Brak, which is a city here in Israel, gave it a stamp and said, this is completely kosher. And Rebbe Norit Esther Ryder, she has teachers who are big Mikubalim. Mikubalim is a Kabbalist, right? And so it is infused in the essence of the teachings. Like, so again, I'm not a Kabbalist, right? I'm not a Kabbalist, but definitely there is what, like this, like for instance, like the thing that I'm doing the most in energy work that is connected to Kabbalah is connected with the Hebrew letters. I infuse Hebrew letters if I need to, right, into a person's energy body. We have to understand that alone is super Kabbalistic, because there's an idea that when God created the world, he created the entire world with Hebrew letters. That the whole world is created with Hebrew letters. And there are actually some big rabbis, Kabbalists, Mekubalim, who they see a person and they can see what letter he is. I'm not on that level. Maybe one day.
Well, I guess that energy healing's always been around, because you got like the great energy healers like the prophet Isaiah and people like this that you would look up to, correct?
You know, it's once you start to open up your eyes, right? We all have our physical eyes, but when you train yourself to look with your spiritual eyes, it's endless of you start to see the miracles in your life, and you start to realize that when you have a kid, right? If a person is given a blessing to become a father, right? And you see your daughter or your son, right? And they come out into the world and you're holding this little baby, right? And you see little baby fingernails. And if it doesn't pop into your head like, whoa, there's a God, then we got to do some work. Because that is like, how does that happen? You know, well, you have to train your eyes. You know, when a person doesn't see that is unbelievable, little baby fingernails, they come into the world with little fingernails. If a person's not able to see that, that means that they haven't really trained their spiritual eyes. They're very much in this physical world, you know? So I really think a big part of each of our missions is no matter what your religious beliefs are, no matter where you come from, right? You are here for a reason, right? You're here, and there's something that is expected from you. Now, what that is, I think everyone has their unique mission in this world, but I think there is one thing that I think is very clear, and that is there are things that are expected from us, and there are things that are not expected from us. Like it's brought down very clear, right, of what Shem expects from us, what God expects from us. I mean, you start to realize it's not all about you, right? That it's not, Ari's world, Scott's world, Jason's world. Like, we're living in a world, that this world is literally a world of tests, and there's different modalities and different things that can bring us closer to God. Then you start to think differently. You start to think of, I'll use John F. Kennedy's saying, not what you could do. Don't think about what you could do, what the country could do for you, but what can you do for your country, right? So don't think about what's supposed to happen to you in this world, but what can you give? When you start to set yourself as a giver, then you open yourself up to receive. And I try my best to live by that.
Nice. So now that you're in this physical world, and now that you're traveling here, let me ask you, any plans to go back to Vegas?
Whoa. So I haven't been back in almost 6 years. I haven't been stateside in almost 6 years.
Wow.
I'll be honest with you, Jason, Scott, I really don't want to go back. If it's up to me, I want to, be in Israel forever. I don't even want to travel anywhere outside of Israel. I've traveled over 28 different countries. And I finally found my place in Israel. I feel like a fish out of water whenever I leave. So, if I have to go and visit for some reason, then that's where I'll do, but if it's up to me, I'm not going anywhere.
Nice. Scott, you got any questions?
Hey, Ari. So here's one for you a little bit. Let's look into the future and jump 10 years from now, and you're looking back on this time that you're in now. What do you hope to see that you've done?
That's a good question. I have to say, Scott, that I see myself, God willing, raising my kids with my wife, having more kids, God willing, continuing to do energy work and helping. I work primarily usually with men, so I want to continue to do that work and to grow it. I also do motivational speaking. I share my story with people to motivate them, to uplift them, and I just want to, spread it, because I really feel like there are so many people out there who need love, who need someone to help them through difficult times, I don't like using the word healing, but yeah, healing, That's also why I feel strongly that there's no competition at all when it comes to, people in this space, because everyone is so different and brings something unique to the table. And there are so many people in the world who connect to different type of people, and they all need support, So I really love this type of work, and I really hope to be able to continue it for many, many, many years, even after 10 years.
Nice.
So Ari, you said you deal primarily with men. What's the biggest issue that you come across?
Negative beliefs. I
And what,
think there were a lot of people, they're trained unconsciously at a very young age to think the worst about themselves, and are unaware that every time that they are beating themselves up, that they're momish destroying themselves. They're slowly killing themselves. Every time a person says, I'm so stupid, God forbid, every time someone says, I can't do anything right, you are programming yourself to believe that. And that is the worst thing that you can do to yourself. So this is something I'm very, very passionate about, and I take very, very seriously. I really help men try to rewire these negative beliefs, because the facts are, a person who thinks that they can't do anything right, a person who thinks that they're stupid, that's rooted somewhere. They are not stupid. They are not worthless, right? That's rooted somewhere that has allowed them to think such a thing about themselves, which is obviously not true. So everyone that I work with, they struggle with this in one way or the other. So at some point, if someone works with me, this comes up, and we definitely give it the attention that it deserves.
what letter does it need?
What?
What letter does that need?
Oh, so that's a good question. It really depends, It's like sometimes if you're doing energy work on it, right? You have to understand that each letter represents something else, right? So for instance, an Aleph, right? Aleph, I'm not going to go through all the meanings of Aleph, right? But Aleph is the beginning of the Hebrew alphabet, right? Echad, right? Echad is the number one, right? If you're counting, Echad, Shtayn, Shalosh, right? So Echad is one, right? You spell Echad with an aleph, right? And when you refer to God, you say Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. You refer to God as one, right? You say, Hear, O Israel, Hashem is our God, Hashem is one, right? So yeah, there's no like direct answer to your question, but just to give you an idea, right? The letters they play a role in everything.
Nice. So I assume the first one is very powerful.
Say it again.
I assume the first letter is extremely powerful.
Yes, absolutely. There are meditations, Jewish meditations, just on an aleph.
Wonderful, wonderful. Scott, do you have any other questions?
I would just like to say thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule and sharing your time with us today. It's nighttime in your area, but our day today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. I just want to also say that this whole interview, by the way, is hashgacha pratit, right? The divine providence, right? Like I saw that Jason, something happened, right? Jason was like, "Oh, we're supposed to have someone." I was like, "I'm available," right? And I never met Jason before, and now this is unbelievable, guys. So I want to thank both of you for giving me the opportunity to have a conversation with you guys, because
we're not through yet. We're not.
And now I have friends in Florida and California. Look at that.
Indeed.
How do our viewers get a hold of you? How do our friends get a hold of you?
So you can find me on Instagram at Next Level Living Coaching. You can also find me on Facebook. If you type in Ari Serap, I do believe I'm the only one that has a beard this long. You can also find me at on TikTok at Next Level Living Coaching. Next Level Living is the name of my company. And you can also find me on LinkedIn under Ari Serap. Again, I do believe I am the only Ari Serap with a beard this long. So shouldn't be so hard to find.
So Ari, you've got a lot. We've been through a lot today, but we have one big question for you.
All right.
Words of wisdom for our viewers.
Words of wisdom.
Yes.
I'll leave this with you guys. We all go through difficult times in life. And there's times that you may feel that you're broken. But if you believe that you could be broken, believe that you could be fixed.
Nice. Nice.
That's powerful.
Well, that's wonderful. Thanks, Scott. You have anything you want to add?
Just thank you so much for telling us. We're going to have you back so you can explain more to us about this energy work you do.
I would love to come back. I had a wonderful time with you guys tonight.
Wonderful, wonderful. Ari, you have anything you want to share with our viewers before we go?
This was psychedelic. This was awesome. I want to come back on the bus. I want to go to more places. You need to subscribe to these guys. They're unbelievable. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Ari. It's been a pleasure traveling down your magical psychic highway. We really dug it. We had a great time. And for our viewers out there, we're so glad that you were here with us. Thanks for traveling on the bus. If you like us, give us a thumbs up. If you think we're assholes, we don't care. Just give us a thumbs down. We're just glad you're here. Be sure to follow us, subscribe, share it with your friends. Please, we hope to see you next week. Thanks for coming.
Wow, what a trip. Thanks for taking that journey with us today. Please like us, share us, and enlighten us with your views of the topics we drove into today. We appreciate you and love reading your comments. Thanks again, and we hope to see you back on the bus next week. That's right.